Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to stand and we want you to make some noise.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go racing here at Knoxville.
Only the best go three abreast.
It is show time at Williams Grove Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here at Eldora Speedway, it's showtime!
You got them for a breath. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the world of outlaws.
It's time to sit back, relax, and enjoy, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime!
Set to do battle for 30 laps. The green flag is waving.
Hello again. Welcome in. It's Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. Talking sprint car racing. Our favorite time of the week. We are so glad you have joined us. Erin Evernham and Steve Post here in the house, just having the times of our lives. Erin, how are you? God, I'm tongue-tied.
Good. How about you? I mean, you've been pretty busy on pit road and a lot of NASCAR racing going on right now.
Woo, man, I'll tell you what, when we went into lockdown, there was some of us, I may have shared this story on Wing Nation before. When we went into lockdown, there might have been some of us, I know I did, whined about being bored. And Chris Schwartz, our boss here, said, I get that, but when this starts, batten down the hatches, because boredom is not going to be part of your life. And boy, he was 100% right. Throw in weather delays, lightning strikes, weather delays in Talladega, 725 miles of NASCAR racing on Sunday at Pocono with rain delays. And I am telling you, I have seen it all. I am telling you, there's only one cure, Erin, for where I'm at. There's only one cure for where I'm at.
What, sprint car racing?
Yes, and I'm going to go do that this week. Hagerstown, Williams Grove, and Port Royal, because I need to get out of the house. No, I don't need to get out of the house. I actually, how just crazy this schedule has been. I actually, at one point during one of the rain delays, thought maybe it's not a good idea to go to Hagerstown, Williams Grove, and Port Royal. That's how bad it was at moments. But I also know I'm very fortunate. I recover quickly. By Thursday, I will be raring and tearing to head up 81 to get to Hagerstown and up to see the Pennsylvania Posse race. And the racing, we have talked about this, the Pennsylvania, Jackson, wherever, the racing this year has just been phenomenal. And the first few nights of Pennsylvania Speedway, that race at Lincoln Speedway on Saturday night, my God, that was unreal.
That was fantastic. All the races. I mean, Saturday night at Jackson. Yeah. I don't know if it's because I'm only getting to watch sprint car racing on my computer or it's because I'm desperate for some racing. But the racing, like you said, this year has been fantastic. Yeah,
it really, truly has. And what I like about it is, like that race at Lincoln, it's the big names stepping up, the icons, okay? You've got Kyle Larson racing against Lance Deweese, racing against Danny Dietrich. You know, I mean, and Kyle is Kyle, and Lance is Lance, and Danny is the young guy that I am 100% sure we're going to be talking about like we talk about Lance. If he keeps going at the pace he's going, I mean, this is guy. I mean, we're way down the road, but he is starting to assemble Hall of Fame type of career. He really, truly is. And to see him mixing it up and coming out on the top end of those battles, I mean, it's been phenomenal. It really has been.
It has. I mean, last year you look at Danny's wins that he had with the Outlaws and Off the Porch. But I think this year, going with the All-Stars for a bit or whatever it might be, his confidence is even higher. And I agree with you. I think Danny's surprising a lot of people with his consistency and some of those battles that we're watching.
You just mentioned it, consistency. He can jump up and have a good race every once in a while. He was always good. He's won championships and stuff. But now he is becoming a threat every time he pulls into the pit area, and it doesn't matter what pit area he pulls into. He is doing really, really good. So good stuff. Hey, let's get right into it. Our Classic Ink screen printing embroidery hot topics, and certainly the fabulous Lincoln Speedway is one of those hot topics. But let's shift the gears to the Jackson Nationals. Wow. What a show. We're going to talk to Logan Schuchart in a little bit, but man, what him and Sweet and Sheldon put on Saturday night was just spectacular.
It really was. You know, we did that pre-race show on Saturday, and we talked to Logan, and I knew he felt confident. I knew they had great equipment, but, you know, the racing on Friday, which they rain delayed Thursday, so it was 2 features on Friday. They were good races, but Saturday night the track was really wide. It became more technical. You either had to hit that really, really tight bottom or up around the top, and I think it just provided that great battle for the lead.
Really did. Stepping away from our hot topics, I had been surviving really, really well, knowing that our road shows are kind of going away one after another. We didn't go to port. We didn't do this. The original plan was for me to fly up. We had a weird schedule with Jackson with Pocono. We don't need to get into it because none of it happened. But Wednesday morning, when I knew I was supposed to be flying to Jackson and I wasn't, that is one of those moments that hit me. Watching the highlights, watching the Jackson Nationals this weekend, Aaron, I saw pictures. One of our tweets on our Mav show was looking over turn number 3 with the big water tower over there in the sunset. And I think about all the times we had up there. I'm telling you, I don't know about you, but man, I missed our friends up at Jackson this past weekend.
We certainly did, and we talked about that on the show pre-race, and we talked with our producer Craig about that. We missed all of it. I don't think I realized how much I was going to miss it until watching it, like you said, and then seeing people running the 5K and seeing tweets, like you said, and different pictures of the events. I think that, like we talked with Doug Johnson on Saturday, that event has really grown into a marquee event, and I felt left out this year. Felt left out.
Yeah, really, really is. Want to mention our friends Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. Boy, it's good to see them up and running. And, Sam Hafertepe is back there. We'll talk to Sam in a little bit and ask him, is he a 3 racer? Is he a 410 racer? Where he's at on that. But first and foremost, it was just good to hear the video Brian Hulbert with this is what you saved your lunch money for, and only the best go 3 abreast. So it was good to see that. And again, that's another core group of racers, that run that it's good to see those guys and gals be back racing as well.
It really is. I know we saw some of the regional racing, but to see the national tour get back going was another key part to us, hopefully returning to normal.
And then one of the final things as far as our Classic Inc. hot topics go that I thought about this weekend, Ohio has been a little slow getting up and running, but it's up and running now and it's rolling. And these, when you listen to Dave Blaney won a race. Now, it was just Sharon, okay, but it's Ohio, it's Pennsylvania, okay. Dave Blaney won a race. Dean Jacobs.
But before we go any further, did you see the paint scheme on Dale Blaney's car?
Yeah,
that's really neat.
Yeah, the throwback for Lou Blaney's number 10.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh my God, that looks so good. I couldn't, when they flashed a picture and I saw a picture online or something. I'm like, what? Really? He did that and he parked it there, in Victory Lane. But when you talk about Ohio being back, there were other guys that won races, but 3 of the winners were Dave Blaney, were Dean Jacobs, and Chad Kemenah. Now, it doesn't say Ohio any more than those 3 guys on wing dances with the flags in their hands after a race. That's amazing.
No, that could have been a headline from about 2002.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just glad after the ride, Dean Jacobs. I'm just glad Dean Jacobs after that ride. I mean, that's a bad ride for a young kid, let alone an old school bus driver, So, oh well, there you have it. Those are the Classic Inc. screen printing embroidery hot topics. ClassicIncUSA.com. It's ClassicIncUSA.com, offering a full line of driver apparel and crew wear options. Full service embroidery, a department specializing in headwear and outwear. They have an experienced design team, a dedicated sales department as well, Aaron.
Yeah, they do. And it's not just for racing. They do local businesses, school districts, sports teams, you name it. Some drivers, Sheldon Haudenschild, Donnie Schatz, Danny Dietrich, David Stremme, and Leith Chassis, Tony Stewart, Brian Brown. The list goes on of people who use Classic Inc. USA.
Yes, and we have some new shirts out. And we put them on our social media along the way, and you'll be doing checking that, so you can link to those, following along on Wing Nation on our social media as well. We're up and running with our apparel and all of our stuff there, and Wing and Classic Inc. I think they kick off at Attica back with the souvenir trailer back on the road. So that's good stuff as well. We talked about the Jackson Nationals. We talked about the thrilling battle up there. Logan Schuchart, his level of confidence, as he told us on our pre-race show on Saturday afternoon. But let's give you a little of the sound of what it sounded like there. Dirt Vision had the call. Johnny Gibson and Austin Lloyd. It was the Jackson Nationals. It was Logan. It was Brad Sweet. And it was Sheldon Haudenschild. And it is our Dryden Diesel all-death-defying move of the week.
And now for the Dryden death-defying move of the week, where one driver simply amazes us with their on-track moves.
With 8 to go, we've got a 3-car battle for the race lead. Brad Sweet, slide job, he leads, but only for about 10 yards. Schuchart back to his inside, and Haudenschild's right there as well. 3 cars every which way through turns 3 and 4. Here comes Haudenschild to the outside of Sweet. Over the cushion goes Sheldon Haudenschild.
Here's Sweet to the inside in 3 and 4, looking for the lead, and he's got it. The big cat now with Schuchart right alongside him. Sweet led lap 29.
Sweet out in front. Schuchart gets him right back through turns 1 and 2 and pulls away down the backstretch.
That death-defying move was brought to you by Dryden Diesel All Death, the official death of the world of outlaws and wheelmen everywhere. Visit Dryden.com for more information.
Pride. Passion. Performance. We are Team Dryden.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Welcome back. It is Wing Nation. We're going to catch up with Logan Schuchart in just a moment, but want to remind you and let you know that Ford's racing roots extend all the way back to 1901 when Henry Ford won his first and only race. Last October, Donnie Schatz brought a Ford-powered World of Outlaws sprint car across the finish line, and another win added to the trophy case. And, well, this past weekend at Pocono, Kevin Harvick and Chase Briscoe put Fords in victory lane. I am telling you, whether it's NASCAR racing or sprint car racing, Ford has you covered. They certainly know the way to victory lane, Erin.
They do, and it's for anyone who loves sprint car racing, that was a banner day when Donnie Schatz won. It became clear the Blue Oval was back on dirt tracks, and in a big way, with a new FPS 410 engine built in America for truly an American form of racing.
Absolutely. Ford is committed to always providing grassroots racing with the contemporary power that it craves. All right, so let's get to us. Joining us via Zoom is the winner of the AGCO Jackson Nationals, Logan Schuchart, driver of that Dryden DRF car, joins us. Hello, Logan. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
What's going on, Steve? Thanks for having me, bud.
Dude, there's not much going on in my world. I'm just watching you be a rock star out there and not only winning the Jackson Nationals. I mean, to win the race is great, but to win in a throwing slide jobs and haymakers at Brad and at Sheldon, that has to be extremely rewarding to win a race, to win one of those brawls like that.
Yeah, that's what's awesome about it. You know, you can start up front and run away with it. You know, we knew our car was good. We had a good car all weekend. We came here last year. We had a good finish, I think, on Friday night, but I wouldn't say we stood out as, a car to beat. This year, everybody knew the 49 car was going to be fast. Sheldon's always fast here, but I feel like we made the right changes to our car to kind of put us on the same level. So then it was up to myself to kind of make the right decisions. But it put on a good show for everybody. The fans that were able to show up and be in attendance, they got to see a great show with a battle between Sheldon, Brad, and myself. So they definitely had me on edge. There was a little bit of you had to save the tires because we knew it was going to be close. It was going to be wearing them off, but you couldn't be too conservative because you knew the 49 car and Sheldon would be right there. So was a great race, and we were able to come out on top.
Logan, when you talk about saving your tire, I mean, first of all, you're in this like heated slider battle with 2 other cars. How, as a driver, do you manage that? And how did you know that tires were going to be that much of an issue? Because it's not like the track like locked down rubber. At least you couldn't see that watching on Dirt Vision.
No, it just the track was pretty black earlier in the night. It got pretty slick very early. So I think a lot of teams thought it would rubber just because of the reputation from the last few years and other races that we've had here, or other races that they've had here. It seems like it takes rubber when it cleans off. But what the weird part about it is, though, it doesn't take rubber, just around the bottom or around the top. It seems to get patchy, so it makes it tough to decide where you need to run, or it's not like it just, like I said, just takes rubber around the bottom, so then you go to the bottom and follow everybody around. So I think that's why you saw Sheldon and myself and Brad kind of going all over the racetrack a little bit, and actually leading the race. I stayed with my line, about 10 laps to go, running around the top, and Sheldon and Brad, after I watched the video, were just going at it. So it took Brad to get to the inside of me for me to change my line, especially in 3 and 4. So 1 and 2, I don't think I ever did really take hard rubber, but in 3 and 4, you can kind of drive across the bottom, and I was able to put some lap cars in between myself and Brad there towards the end.
Logan Schuchart joining us here on the hotline, the Zoom line, if you will. Logan, you talk about the challenge of saving tires. When you got done, what did you do? Were you out? Did you still have a little bit left? How did you do? I mean, you won the race, obviously, but how did you do on the tire savings?
It was pretty bad. It was not quite a drag slick, but they were pretty worn out. So I believe some of the other guys were a little bit worse, more of like a drag slick, but so maybe I could have pushed it just a little bit harder, but you never know that in a race car. So I think we did a good job at it, and I don't know if I'd changed too much of my strategy. So like you said, it worked out for us, so we won the race.
Yeah, I wouldn't change that strategy. Logan, when we talked to you pre-race on Saturday, you talked about how your grandfather had won this race. You'd love to put your name on the list, but you mentioned that I think he went home and bought your mom a car. Is that the story? So are you going to make a big purchase with your big earnings?
Well, now I have a motorhome, so it broke down trying to leave the track yesterday. So I didn't make it too far, and I'm already spending it trying to fix this thing. So I feel like that's where a lot of it's going.
Okay, so we've had this long-running conversation with Darren, and we've had these long-running conversations with Shane Stewart in the past. These motorhomes, okay? I mean, how much time are you a race car driver or a motorhome repairman first and foremost?
Yeah, both. They go equally in hand. If you have to run this tour and you have a motorhome, it seems like it doesn't matter who you are, you're going to be working on them all the time. So I try to get something that's supposed to not give you issues, but I don't think there is such a thing.
No doubt.
Logan, in all seriousness, you mentioned how much it would mean to you win a big race, a big event. You've won plenty of outlaw shows now, but this was your first big marquee event, and you added your name to your grandfather's list as well, or both of you are on the list now of winners. What does that mean to you? I mean, that's a pretty big deal, aside from the money, the trophy, whatever, but to add your name to a list of a big event like this.
Well, it's just he's the guy that got me into racing, seeing these big events like the Knoxville Nationals. I know he won this event back in the 80s. And just, being around the race shop as a kid, that's all of what got me into racing. I wanted to be just like my grandfather and do the same thing that he did. So, and now just to do that along with him by my side, teaching me along the way, being my mentor, coaching me on racing in itself, but how to set up the cars and how to make them better. It's just really cool. I'm rolling around a caution flag Saturday night, and there he is, just like the same as 10 years ago when I first started or when I was racing go-karts. He's there at the edge of the track trying to give me hand signals and tell me what the race is going on. So just no better teacher and mentor than my grandfather.
That's just so cool.
Can't get me into it. I'm going to turn into Jacob Balance.
There you That's right. I can see Scruffy out there doing that, just trying to point you in the right direction. That is for sure. Logan, this has been quite the journey, and we certainly have shared so many times talking about the journey, and you guys have been on and where you're at, and we certainly don't need to rehash that. But right now, what are you guys working on? You are in the picture for race leads. Seems like every time we turn around, and with the World of Outlaw guys, or when Larson jumps in, you're always there. How do you feel about your program? Are there areas that you still need to work on a little bit? Where are you guys at?
Well, you can always learn and get better. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. Donnie Schatz is still learning. So, and, any of those guys that have been out here for a long time, they're going to tell you that you can always learn something. So, tracks are always changing. The race cars are always changing. So you can always improve on yourself and your cars. And so I think our team does a really good job at it. My grandpa works night and day with our engines, with Michael Newman. And we have a great group of guys with Ron Helmick, Ben Whitman, Brandon Tyler, Jacob's working really hard, and my grandfather. Just everybody's got their head in the right place, and they're working really hard to make us better. So, and yes, we always have room for improvement. So we want to try and keep working hard. I'd like to few races that I might have messed up on there at Beaver Dam. Maybe as far as points goes, maybe a second place would be better than trying to put it, win the race and end up putting it in the wall. So, but we're definitely feel really good right now about our cars and where we're at with everything. And yeah, we're in the hunt.
Logan, no driver ever really wants to talk about points battle, but since you mentioned it, obviously the season's been up and down, a long break for the pandemic, but you can't help but be interested and keep track of points and know how important that is. How neat is it for you not only to see how well you're doing in points, where your name is, but to have the potential to possibly come out on top at the end of the year?
Well, I wish this weekend counted for points, but no, that's the big thing really is talking about 2020 is that we already have a shortened schedule, and we don't know how many races we're going to get. So with it being that short, every race is, with the World of Outlaw schedule and how it already worked in the past is, you fall out of one race, it was huge, and it could be detrimental to the end of the year. So, and then this year with the shortened schedule, it's, you heighten that by a lot. So, every race is huge, and other guys like Brad and Donnie are going to be consistent and be there every race. So we got to stay working hard and making the right decisions.
Coming up this week, Cedar Lake. It's one of the race weekends. Of course, Dirt Vision's going to have it all, but fans across the country and across the continent are going to be watching on CBS Sportsline as well for that big Saturday night feature going to be on there. Tell me about Cedar Lake and your past there and your history there, and what your thoughts are going into that weekend.
Well, I love Cedar Lake. Cedar Lake's an awesome racetrack. It's really cool what they're doing this weekend with getting the late model guys there. We're going to have I didn't hear it yet, but I hope Dave Klinger and Al and the whole Dryden team are going to come out. You have all the Dryden cars there in one spot, so that'll be really cool. It's where I got my first win in 2016. We haven't been too great since we've gone back, but I think we have some ideas to help us maybe be a little better when we go back this time. So some more big money on the line, and hopefully we can have a shot to win the thing.
Logan, we're talking about doing a full audience, full grandstands this weekend. I know it's hopeful. It's probably still a little bit scary, but how neat for you is that after going back to racing without any fans there to having a decent amount of fans at Jackson to win in front of, but now seeing we're hopefully continuing to head in the right direction of getting back to normal. How neat is that to have that fan interaction?
Yeah, it's just great, especially the last few weeks. It seems like there's been, now they're allowing fans in the pit area, and you're getting back to, especially this weekend, with winning, there's a lot of people in the pit area afterwards, and that makes you feel good. It's just awesome. We already thought that the sport was going in the right direction, and gaining fans and to have everybody there is what you want to see. So we always enjoy it. Jacob and I having fans come down in the pits, and but this weekend at Cedar Lake having a full crowd, and like I said, with all the late model teams there, and you're going to get a pretty diverse fan base. So hopefully they can pack the place, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're all looking forward to it. It should be a big, big weekend, that's for sure. So, well, congratulations again on that big win, the Jackson Nationals, one of the marquee events in sprint car racing, one of the crown jewels, if you will. Wish you the best this weekend in Cedar Lake and on throughout. I'm fairly confident we'll talk to you along the way. But thanks again for joining us here on Wing Nation.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
There we go. Dryden DRF racer Logan Schuchart joining us here today on the program. Stay with us. When we come back, another big winner this past weekend, Sam Hafertepe Jr. He joins us next.
Hey, Ashley, what are you up to?
Oh, I just stopped by to grab some sage fruit apples. Now I just have to decide which ones.
You can never go wrong with a Honey Crisp. They're light, crisp, and full of perfectly balanced flavor.
Oh, hey.
You could always go with one of their classics, the Gala or Fuji. They're both sweet and juicy. Grown in the heart of Eastern Washington, Sage Fruit Company works hard on the farm and with their retail partners to provide high-quality apples and pears to consumers all year long.
Well, I couldn't decide which ones. Thanks for the help, guys.
I'll race you to checkout.
Power isn't born, it's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain, and we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires rolling along, and we're talking to some big race winners this weekend, and the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour fired back off, and Sam Hafertepe not once but twice went to victory lane. He joins us via Zoom. Hello, Sam. Welcome back to Wing Nation.
Yeah, it's good to be on. Never done the Zoom deal, but it's pretty neat to be on with you guys right now.
The new Zoom deal. I'm telling you what, we have brought some people into the world with it, and we don't even know what we're doing. So we appreciate you joining us, Sam. Going back Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour Racing, Caney Valley, and then down at I-30 Raceway. Getting back to victory lane. It's always good. Had to be comfortable and good to get back to some familiar territory for you.
Yeah, we'd never been to Caney, but it was familiar territory for us, basically in the 360. We've been doing it so much the last 5 years, I think it's been. So it was good to get back to that, know that we can still win and still, figure out some things with that deal too. So, but, we really wanted to get back to the shop mainly and focus on, getting our 410 program where it needs to be. We don't need to be out there beating our head against the wall. And it's kind of the main reason we didn't go out to PA Speed Week and do stuff like that is we need to get back in the shop and get to work. Maybe we did a lot of stuff in the off season. I think we went the wrong direction. So kind of get back in the shop and try to change things around and go the other direction.
Sam, you mentioned that in one of your victory lane interviews that, getting your head beat against the wall with, I think, running the All-Star Speed Week and then going to Hobstadt, going back to 360s where you've had so much success. Obviously, again, you right out of the box did. But talk about how different they are. We talk to a lot of drivers who run both 360s and 410s, but to run against the competition, to run night in and night out, talk about maybe the setup differences, that how you have to drive them differently. Try to explain to our listeners and viewers a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I think competition's obviously a lot deeper in the 410. You got a lot of professional racers in that. In the 360 division, you have a handful of professional guys, and you have a lot of guys that, they have jobs, they work every week. So, competition level is definitely different. But mainly, like, the things that we struggle with is setup stuff. We race the same caliber of cars in Lubbock, a month and a half ago, and we won down there pretty easily and had a really good race car. And then, we raced the same caliber of cars, weeks later and qualified pretty good, but, race and race trim were not very good at all. And just have a lot of stuff to work on. The tires are so different for us that whatever works for us in the 360, obviously it doesn't work in the 410, and it's something that we've been really, really working hard on trying to figure out it. And in the off season, like I say, we thought we went the right direction with some things, and start getting back in the shop and measuring things out and getting cars on the scales and figuring that maybe we're not where we think we need to be, and it was best for us to get back to the shop and really get to work. So we ran those 2 races last weekend because obviously they're close to home. And then this weekend, we're going to go out doing some more 410 racing.
Well, that's cool. That is really, really neat. There's kind of 2 philosophies in sprint car racing that we've kind of gleaned as we've gone along. The one philosophy is the only way to get better is to race, and you race, and you race all the time. Then you go Lance Deweese style on us, where, pick 35 races, get buttoned up, and go win 50% of them, okay? The decision to go from one to the other, you ran Speed Weeks with the All-Stars. You were kind of on that plan, and it sounds like you've pulled the plug and kind of gone to this plan where you can kind of catch your breath. The decision, walk through the process of getting there to that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things. With the COVID deal going on, I don't want to be 20 hours away from home and get shut down. Our owner doesn't want that. There's a lot of stuff like that going on. I didn't really want to commit to a series the way everything went and be, stuck doing that and maybe missing out on some races too. Like we've raced probably as much as anybody has this year, regardless if, we were 360 racing, 410 racing. I don't think a lot of people's raced as many times as we have. And that was the main goal, when all this started, like when we decided, at the beginning of the year to do the All-Star deal, we thought, well, they don't really limit you on going to outlaw shows and doing things like that. So it'd be a really good gig for us to get as much time in as we could. But the way things have been going, the schedules are changing. There's races popping up that weren't on schedules. And we lost a guy earlier in the year too. I mean, we had a few setbacks as well. So as hard as it is out there and as good as all those teams are, I didn't really want to commit to something that I knew we couldn't probably do by the end of the year. Like if we got put in a hard spot, we have enough problems. We're chasing a race car. We're chasing a lot of I definitely don't want that to be another thing we're chasing around as well.
Sam, you mentioned confidence, I think, in Victory Lane one night. You said something about, it makes you want to make sure you don't want to, or you shouldn't quit or something like that. And it struck me because you're a champion. You've won a ton of races, I think over 50 races now with the ASCS. Talk about the mental part of racing. Like going out, you talked about getting beat up with those guys, but you said you just need to make sure you could still win and show your guys you could still win. How important is that aspect of it? Never mind going back to work at the shop, just the mental part.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, you could take any of the guys that are top of their game and you go through a bad spell and guys get down on themselves. It's easy to do. I've been through it all. I used to, I started up when I was really young, racing with the Outlaws. You weren't even thinking about winning. You were just hoping to make shows and get better. And we did progress. It just usually takes a while. I always tell people that, like they talk about how good Logan Schuchart is now. We'll look at them 5 years ago. They're just kind of starting getting their feet wet and they're one of the best cars every night now. So I think we're going to go through those phases, but I know our cars aren't right, and I know our stuff isn't right. And when you've been winning, it's really hard to lose, and it's hard to consistently lose. And really, we weren't even contending. We might have a shot at running top 5 or something a few nights, but that's not good enough for us. We definitely need to get back in the shop and be better, and I know we can, and that's why we made the decision to do what we did.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch as you scratch and you claw your way back and get back up there at the front of the field in these 410 races as we now work into the second half of the season, which that seems weird that this is the second half of the season already, but that's another topic as well. Sam, congratulations again on the wins this weekend, and we appreciate the time. You've always been so open with us on your journey from 360s to 410s and the steps forwards and the steps this way and the steps that way, and we appreciate the insight into that, and we wish you the best this weekend and on throughout.
All right. Well, we sure appreciate you guys having us on. It's always a pleasure.
There we go. Sam Hafertepe joining us here on the program. And let's talk a little bit more about the Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour. That's where Sam did his business this past weekend. And they've got a wide open championship battle because, as you heard, Sam is not going to be running for points there. So that's part of the intrigue with it. But they're getting ready to head out to the West Coast as well. So that is going to be fun as well. Next up on the National Tour schedule, Saturday, July 11th, Riverside International Speedway in West Memphis. This weekend, Warrior Racing action, Saturday night. at Lake Ozark Speedway in Eldon, Missouri, and a Saturday-Sunday doubleheader for the Lone Star region down in Cleveland, Texas at 105 Speedway. Stay with us. More Wing Nation in just a moment.
Power isn't born. It's built over time. For over 65 years, Hercules Tires has been providing the muscle to move more drivers. Whatever the vehicle, whatever the terrain. And we back it with a powerful protection plan. So wherever the road or the trail takes you, we have the selection, value, and strength to get you there. Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Pride. Passion. Performance. We are Team Dryden.
It is Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. We're glad you joined us. Always fun to listen to Sam Hafertepe Jr. and Logan Schuchart. Great to talk about them. The absolute number one pit utility vehicle in sprint car and midget racing is a custom mule conversion from HRV. It starts with a solid platform, dependable, great-looking Kawasaki mule, and it's customized and built for each customer's specifications.
Yep, there's options like generator, air compressor, shock and radius rod racks, amazing toolboxes and drawers, LED lighting, walk-on roofs, and more. HRP mule conversions perform, outlast, and maintain their value better than any other utility vehicle. HRP mules, raising the standard again in pit utility vehicles.
And you can find out more at www.hrpracing.com. That's hrpracing.com. As I shared with you, Aaron, I'm all excited about this weekend, okay, because I'm going to Hagerstown. I know, and I'll be bragging, and I'll be texting you, and I'll be showboating, that's for sure. Williams Grove, and then on Saturday, it's the Greg Hodnett Memorial at Port Royal, and we're going to start Saturday morning with a 5K. I get to do a real run, a real 5K, so I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I would love to be doing a real 5K, and I certainly would like to be doing it for Sherry Hodnett and for the Greg Hodnett Foundation.
And I share all of that to let you know that coming up on our podcast on Thursday, we are going to talk with Sherry Hodnett. So can't wait to see what she has going on with the foundation, see what she has going on with the Greg Hodnett Memorial. But I also want to talk to her about that Hall of Fame display and the upcoming induction ceremony. It's not a good time to be Sherry Hodnett, okay? She lost her husband. But it's got to be an interesting time to be Sherry Hodnett. So we're going to talk to her on our podcast, and coming up on Wing Nation on Saturday, Bill Klingbill, one of the behind-the-scenes guys, a good buddy of ours. We're going to share his story as well on our MAV TV show. By the way, Wing Nation gear will be available this weekend at Attica and then at Fremont and then all throughout where the All-Star Circuit of Champions go. Or you can find it at www.wingnation.com. Again, we appreciate Logan Schuchart and Sam Hafertepe for joining us here. More important than all of that, though, thank you for joining us here today on Wing Nation presented by Hercules Tires.
Wing Nation has been brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength. Watch Wing Nation Saturday mornings on MAV TV. You can also find Wing Nation on wingnation.com or your favorite podcast provider. Wing Nation is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.